my eyes. I'm scared to open them.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 1999 classic found footage film, The Blair Witch Project. The film is written and directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, and it stars Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams and Joshua Leonard. Right, the film follows three documentary filmmakers who head out to Burkittsville to make a documentary on the famed Blair Witch. They interview a number of locals about this myth, just to set it all up, and then they head out, the three of them, into the woods themselves to trek around the woods looking for famous spots that are linked to these stories. However, they get trapped within the woods, and they can't get out. They're lost, and it seems that something may be hunting them as each night progresses. An evil presence is definitely there, hunting them. Right. What are my thoughts on the Blair Witch Project? Well, where do you start with this film? To many, I suppose. I don't think. Personally, I don't think nowadays this film gets as much respect as it deserves. For me, this film, I mean, it's a fact that this film popularized the found footage genre. Yes, there are other films that came before it, but this is the one that absolutely pushed the genre into the stratosphere. And it's been like a really popular genre ever since this film. So, yes, it's not the original found footage film, but it definitely was the most popular. And I remember when this came out in '99. Now, I never went to the cinema to see this. I don't remember why. But I saw this a couple of years after, and I'm fairly sure the first time I saw this was on DVD. And I remember watching it, and I was on my own. And it absolutely terrified me. And I've said this before on reviews. I know when a good horror film is doing what it should be doing to me, because I go really cold, like my fingertips go really cold, and I get all shivery and stuff. And I can't explain why. Maybe you guys do as well. I don't know, but it certainly does that to me if I'm really invested and and I'm finding a horror film really effective. That's generally what happens to me. And that absolutely happened to me the first time I watched this. I found it so effective and so impactful, and it was my first experience with a found footage film. I don't think I'd seen anything before this one. I thought it was incredible, and it definitely created my love for the found footage genre, because I do cover a lot of found footage films on this channel. There's a playlist of found footage films. That I've done 2 or 3 top 10 lists of found footage films. I really, really enjoy them. It's probably my favourite genre in regards to, or subgenre in regards to horror. But there's other people out there that watch this and they're kind of like, it's rubbish. And I absolutely do understand that. And I think what you got to remember at the time, when this came out, a lot of people, I mean, it was the infancy of the internet. It was completely in its infancy. And the filmmakers completely exploited that. You know what I mean? They put this story out there that, these 3 documentary filmmakers were missing. They even, declared that the 3 actors were missing. You know what I mean? The actors kind of low profile sort of thing. Nobody could find them or talk to them or interview them. A lot of people thought it were real. It was a stroke of genius by the filmmakers. It just absolutely, if you like, took the internet by storm at the time, and popular media. It was before social media and all this kind of stuff. So it was like wildfire. It just caught on. So everybody went to see this, and this film was made, I think it was $60,000 I think, something like that. And it made over $240 million at the box office. Talk about a smash hit. I mean, this takes it to another level in regards to box office hit, really, this film. It became part of pop culture for a while, you know what I mean? It was just so popular, and effective, and it definitely had an impact on audiences and horror fans overall. It certainly did with me when I watched it. Now, I've always said this as well. If you're gonna watch the Blair Witch Project and you've never seen it before, on the Blu-ray and the DVD, I believe, certainly there is a documentary that comes along with it called "The Curse of the Blair Witch." I think it's something like an hour long, something like that, and it is the perfect accompaniment to this film. And I would absolutely suggest watching that documentary either just before you watch the film or just after you watch the film. It enhances the experience massively so. And there's not many like extras on a Blu-ray or a DVD that you can say that about. Some of them are nice to watch. You know, you want to see how a film's been made and see people being interviewed and stuff. Whereas this, it's an extension of the film, if you like. You know what I mean? And it's just so good. You just have to kind of, watch them together to get, I think, the full experience of Blair Witch Project. Yeah, but the quality of the film when you watch it is pretty poor, really, and that was done absolutely on purpose. You know what I mean? Apparently, it was filmed in far better quality, and the directors deliberately kind of degraded the quality to get the way they wanted it to look, sort of thing. It took 8 days to film. The actors pretty much improvised all their lines. I mean, and that's another thing you see with a lot of found footage films these days. They don't feel real. They feel scripted. The actors don't feel like they're in real situations, where this film absolutely feels genuine. The terror that many of these actors are expressing in the film was real terror, because they were experiencing some of the things in that film for the first time themselves. The directors didn't tell them what to expect. They just usually they had walkie-talkies, I believe, but also they used to like leave them notes outside the tents to give them an idea of what direction to go that day, because they would have laid things out for them to look at, and maybe a couple of subjects that they want them to talk about, or interactions they want them to try and weave into the day's filming. But other than that, it was all improvised, the shaking on the tent sort of thing. They didn't even know that was going to happen. They just did it, which the terror was real. When they're running out the tent, absolutely petrified. And Heather screams, "What the F is that?" when she looks to her left. If the cameraman had swinged his camera, there would have been like a vision of the Blair Witch there. But he was too scared to do it, so they missed it. That was all. They didn't know what to expect, you know what I mean, in any of those scenes. And the scene at the end, where Heather's absolutely petrified, it's been reported, or she was interviewed at some point for Fangora or something like that, saying that, she was so uncontrollably upset beyond that scene being filmed. She couldn't kind of come around. She was hysterical. So all the fear and terror that you see throughout that film was real. It wasn't necessarily acting. And that monologue scene with Heather that you saw a clip of at the beginning of this review is, for me, emphasises, I think, just how good this film is. You know what I mean? Nobody told her to do that, really. She just turned it on and just filmed and, decided to do that monologue. And it was so genuine, it was so real, the terror felt real, the fear felt real. And that's what's so tangible about this film. Yes, you could argue you don't see or hear anything, really. It's just kind of hinted at. But you feel and sense the terror, the real fear and terror on the actors' faces when they are playing out this film. It's just so brilliantly done. I've rewatched the film to prepare for this review, because I hadn't seen it for a number of years, and it just blew me away once again. I understand if you're not a fan of found footage, then you're probably going to think Blair Witch Project's rubbish. But for me, it absolutely was revolutionary at the time, massively just exploded and gave us this brand new subgenre to enjoy that we're still enjoying today. And it's just an absolutely outstanding addition to the found footage genre, and I still absolutely love it. Let me know in the comments what you think, guys, and I will of course be back with loads more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.